So we'll create one new process. So for sending SMTP protocol, I've already opened up the configurations. So for sending the SMTP mail, you have to go to app integration, and here you'll find mail activity. So in this mail activity, we have couple of protocols like SNDP, Port 3, Outlook, IMAP, and Exchange. So also we have discussed this SOAP automation web REST services. So for sending and receiving mail through UiPath, they already have given so many options. So there are so many options available over here. One is SMTP, other one is POP3, third one is Outlook. Devendra, do you know the difference between Outlook and Exchange?
I don't remember.
Any guess, any idea? So these are the different versions of mail protocol available. SMTP protocol is a standard protocol for sending and receiving the mail. Post office protocol is a configuration protocol which is used to retrieve all your mail from your mail server or your copy of mail from your server. Outlook is a kind of mail service. So if you go to the internet and when you try to type Outlook, so Outlook is a kind of mail service which is a public mail service from Microsoft. It is also like your Gmail and Yahoo mail services. So Outlook is that kind of mail services. So for communicating over Outlook network, Outlook mail, we have Outlook. You can go over here, we can sign in and you can create account. So this mail account is basically a type of mail services. So Outlook mail service. If you want to access your mail and also you don't want to retrieve the copy from the mail server but a complete clone copy from the mail, then you have Internet Mail Access Protocol. If your company is having in-house mail server setup, then that is called as Exchange server. That is basically called as Microsoft Mail Exchange server. So these many types of protocols are there for sending and receiving the mail. So UiPath provide possibilities of sending the mail using SMTP and your IMAP protocol. Other than that, it also supports Exchange mail server. So based on your company's mail profile, you can select the mail and you can configure it.
Can you explain IMAP again? What is the difference in Outlook and IMAP?
Yes, I'll explain. So I'll just write one more line of everything. SMTP is a simple or a standard mail protocol for sending and receiving mail. Then we have POP3. So POP3 is a kind of mail protocol that helps you to manage your mail remotely by downloading all your mails from your actual mail to your local mail box. So it's a mail management protocol. Then we have Outlook. So Outlook is also a mail protocol which is used for Microsoft Outlook mail services. So you can go to outlook.live.com and you can just register over there. So this is also a mail service which is from Microsoft. Now Outlook is a mail services which is a public service. So to manage Outlook mail we have Outlook protocol. So either we can manage the Outlook mail from the web or from Outlook client. Both the protocols are supported by this Outlook mail. Next we have IMAP. IMAP is a advanced version of POP3. So where instead of only retrieving the mail, you can maintain clone copy of your mail server. Like our mobile application works on IMAP protocol. So the main advantage of IMAP is something which help you to retrieve your mail from the mailbox and integrate your mail into third party client and then manage the complete mail of sending, receiving everything. POP3 is something which helps you to only download the mail from your mail server. But IMAP allows you to control the complete thing. In spite of downloading the mail, also you can send the mail, receive the mail, you can configure everything. So IMAP is the advanced version of POP3. Then we have Exchange. So Exchange is a kind of mail protocol which is used for Microsoft Exchange server. So most of the organizations will be having this, which has their own in-house mail server setup. But most of the time, the basic and the standard one which is used across sending and receiving mail is SMTP. SMTP is a mail protocol which is used for sending the mail. For retrieving the mail, we have POP3. Along with retrieving, if you want to maintain the clone copy of a mail server, is a IMAP. When you are managing your Outlook application, either web-based or a local client, you can use Outlook protocol, which works on the connection behavior of profile. And then if your company already have your organization level of mail server setup, then that is called Exchange.
So maybe like Wipro, Infosys, they already have their own server for mail, right? But still
Yes,
we look Outlook in the organization.
yes. So
So
what they
why
do
that
is, yeah, yeah. So what happens, right? Exchange is a mail server for sending and receiving mail, and Outlook they are using as a client to configure Exchange server in your laptop. So Outlook client is an application which is used to connect your Exchange server and send and receive mail from that Exchange server. So for example, Gmail is the client, and Gmail will also have their Gmail server. So that Gmail server is interfaced by Gmail client. That you can see in the portal. We have this Gmail client. This is our Gmail client. Similarly, Outlook.com is also a web-based mail services which is open for public. Same Outlook is also can be configured as a client to work on Exchange mail server. So Outlook is a client which connects to a Exchange mail server for sending and receiving infrastructure mails.
Yeah. So SMTP it's also used for receiving mails. What I studied is like SMTP is used only for sending the mail.
Yes, SNDP used for sending and receiving the mail. Both you can do it. Nowadays, SNMP works on full duplex mode. You can also send a mail or you can just receive the mail. But ideally, as per the standard protocol, the purpose is to only send a mail. POP3 for receiving the mail. IMAP for providing more advanced control over the mail services. And Outlook for Microsoft products. Example of mail client, that means the application. Outlook is one of the application which is used for managing your mail services. So Outlook client is also available. Like that, we have Thunderbird, which is from Firefox. Again, it's a mail client. And then we have open source mail client services for Linux environment. Most of the time in the interview, they'll ask what is the mail possibilities you have used in your organization. So everyone will be saying Outlook and Exchange. So both are different things. Outlook is a client. Also, Outlook is a public mail services. And Exchange is an in-house server to connect to the server and manage the server. Either you can use the client directly, or you can use Microsoft Exchange protocol. So if you want some more understanding, you can just go to internet, type POP3 versus IMAP versus Outlook. So already a lot of documentations are there. So a lot of documentations over things, everything's are there. But generally, if you type Outlook versus Exchange server, so you can see that. So most of the interviews will be based on your Outlook. So it's a very good understanding. I think they are given over here. So Microsoft Outlook is a desktop email client. Using an Outlook, user can retrieve the mail from their Exchange servers. So it is a client. Also, what Microsoft has done is that they have started their own mail services with the name of Outlook. So Outlook has two different meaning. One is the Outlook mail service. Another means apart from that, you also have Microsoft Outlook desktop client. So I'll share you this link. So share this link in chat box. You can just have a look. Often it will be most confusing, but in reality, this is what the understanding. So let's take an example of Gmail. So Gmail is a mail service which offers two kind of mail protocols, POP and IMAP both. So for using Gmail in your local client or in your UiPath automation, you have to make sure that you enable your POP3 and IMAP from your Gmail account. So by default it is disabled. So you have to log into your Gmail account and then Same configuration also goes with the UiPath, also goes with Yahoo and everything. So go to the settings. So in the settings you have forwarding and POP. So here to use POP3 protocol and IMAP protocol, you have to enable your mail server. By default, these are disabled because of security reason. At any point of time, if you want to use it, you can use directly over here. You can enable it, both enable, and then you can see a lot of options coming up over here. So the only purpose of POP3 and IMAP is to manage your email access to third-party client and download the mail services which is coming up into your mail server. So if you want to have more closer look of other mails, you can see import mails and contacts. So when you click over here, it will ask you to give your mail service name. For example, if I get something different, so these are some configuration if you want to use it. Now this is your mail forwarding protocol which also works in POP3 and everything. So you have to log into the client and then again you have to give the POP3 permissions. Any doubts, Devinder?
No, my
So in UiPath we have activities for all of this kind of protocol. So you can see for SMTP we have SMTP protocol. For POP3 is Outlook. We can send Outlook messages, get Outlook messages. IMAP also we have get IMAP protocols. Exchange we have Exchange server scopes. So depending on your organization mail unit, you can select your mail protocols. For every mail protocol, you requires an authentication which is called as your mail protocol configurations. So when you click on this SNDP mail protocol, in the right side you can see you have to do some bit of configuration. Your SNDP server port name and server name, your email ID which is used to log in, and then remaining is your body of the mail. So if you want to configure Outlook, sorry, Gmail, so go to Gmail configuration and you can see we have sntp.gmail.com is the SNTP server name. Copy that and put into your server. It operates on a protocol 587. So again, you can copy that. So we have configured protocol and everything. Next, you need to give your email ID. This email ID is a string, so make sure that you give a string over here, and then your password. By default, this password is a string. You can also take password as an input using input box. So both the options are there. Now, when you double click on this SNTP activity, to whom you want to send a mail, so that mail ID you have to give it over here. So I'm going to send to myself. Subject you can give test mail. Body also you can give test mail. If suppose you want to do any kind of attachment along with the mail, so you can click on this attach files. it will ask you to add 2 3 Excel files or anything attachment you want to add it. So click on this direction, and then in the value you have to specify the complete path of the attachment which you want to send. So if suppose I want to send some kind of images, so let's suppose I want to send this application notepad.zip. So I'll copy this notepad and then complete path you have to give it over here along with the file name. So mail is attached. Same mail configuration can also be done from the right side, and you can just click on this mail message, sorry, in the attachment over here, and you can attach it from here. So based on your secure connection, so if you see over here, the secure connection is TLS protocol. So you can just configure that protocol, or you can leave it to auto. So basically auto will try to reconnect on all the secure channels. We take one input dialog box for password input. If it is a password, you can enable this option, is password. So your output will get stored over here. So I'm going to give as password. This password I'll configure in SMTP protocol. Now click on run. Now you have to provide your password over here, and then click on OK. So authentication will happen and mail will send. So you are getting some message over here. The authentication mechanism was too weak. So this is something which is your Gmail authentication exception. So ideally Gmail is sorry. So ideally Gmail configuration is quite strong. You have to go there. For me, I have enabled two level of authentication. So I have to disable all the authentication and then we can do it. Generally, the protocol address and everything comes over here. One thing you have to make sure that if you are using Gmail, you have to disable two-factor authentication. There should be no two-factor authentication, otherwise it will fail. So you can try with Yahoo Mail to test your mail service. Now when you click on the SNDP mail protocol, in the right side, ideally we can send a normal basic mail. So this is going to send a basic mail. But that support, we don't want to send a basic mail, we want to send a HTML mail. Then you can click on this body is HTML. Now what happens, right? You can write your HTML code over here. Let's suppose you want to do more formatting and you want to attach HTML code over here. You can enable this option is body and you can attach the HTML to the mail. By default, it is plain text, which is a string. And if you enable this use body HTML, you can send HTML code or HTML formatted mail services. So a complete email allow without JavaScript, you should write a body HTML over here, and then you can send your mail services. Now, one practical use case when this HTML is used when you want to attach so HTML mail, which to my experience, it is used when you want to send a formatted mail, like attaching your image in the body of the mail. So this is one use case probably. By default, we have an attachment file. If you click on this attach, that image will go as an attachment. But if you want to incorporate the image in the body of the HTML, in the body of a mail, then you have to attach via HTML mail. So you go here and you check this option, and then you send the mail through HTML mail. So this is one typical use case where you want to send the attached. Other use case was when you want to send charts in your body. So if you do BPO processes, there they will looking for charts. So you have to take the snapshot of chart from the Excel file and you have to attach that in a mail body. That should not go as an attachment, but that should be visible in your email body. So those are the use cases where this HTML mail is utilized more. So for Gmail, I got a mail because of the security configurations. So my connection to the email server was blocked because of my two-factor authentication. But you can try from your email ID by disabling a two-factor authentication, and you can do it. So similarly, like your SFTP, you have POP3. So if you interact the POP3, you have all the configurations. So POP3 port number server you have to give, and then you have the option to download all the mails. So POP3 will automatically get all the mail messages, and then output you can retrieve in your local data, local folder. You can give the path. Everything will go. It gets stored over there. Also, there are two more options. Now POP3 gives you a functionality where you can either download the entire mail from the server without leaving a copy from the server, or you can leave a copy. So this is that message over here. So when you check this option, delete message, POP3 will retrieve all the message from this mailbox server and will empty the mailbox server. Similarly, if you want to do the filtering, like let's suppose you want to get only latest mail of top 30 or top 50, like that, you can specify the number. So if I go to my Gmail account and if I want to show you the POP3 configuration, so you can see over here when access message over POP3, these are multiple options available over here. So nowadays all mail services are secure. So probably you have to take a proper configuration mechanism over here. Similarly, if you want to send or receive mail through Outlook network, you have Outlook protocols. Get Outlook mail again over here. you have to provide your Outlook account. So you can see over here, this is account services. Now this account string you have to capture. If you have the Outlook client in your local laptop, you can go to control room, and you can type mail over here. So this is your general Outlook mail configuration. So whenever you have Outlook client configured, you have to add your profile over here, new profile, and then you do the Outlook configuration. So the same configuration goes over here in Outlook messages. Same for sending the mail. All the protocols and concepts are same. Similarly for IMAP also, when you click over here, you can specify a particular folder from which you want to download the mail, and then your server port number, login credentials, and then where actually in the local drive you want to save it. So you have to specify the path, and then all the configurations are same as your POP3. Now when you are connected to the organization level, so either you will be using Outlook or you will be using MS Exchange. So if you're using MS Exchange server, so for that you have to provide some couple of more configurations like your domain. If suppose you're working in Wipro, so your wipro.com will be domain ID, your password, and your username which you use to log in your corporate account. So Exchange is basically used for your corporate email ID, corporate mail server. So this configuration is something which you will get from your local ISIT team in your company. They'll give you your domain name, your credentials you already having. Domain is something which you have to get from there, and then your exchange service. So your complete connection string you have to give from the exchange services. Now there can be different version of email exchange server. So I have used Exchange Server 2007. So based on the company, you can select your Exchange Server starting from 2007, 10, 13, and then your Exchange Server protocols. So we have two more: save mail message and save attachment. So if you are doing some kind of filtering and you want to have a specific mail over the loop, you can use these two activities to download your mail server and to download your mail or download your attachment. Let's suppose take a typical use case where you have to download PDF from your mail and then do the PDF automation. So for downloading a PDF from the mail, you will have the save attachment. And if you want to maintain the copy also, you can use save mail ID, save mail. Then once your PDF is downloaded, you can start your PDF automation. So these are basically on your requirement basis. At a time, you'll not be using all the mail protocols, but ideally for the organization, Exchange server and your POP3 and SNDP is used most probably because company will have their own exchange server, so they'll configure POP3 and SLTP. So for sending the mail, you're going to use SMTP. You can also use Outlook for sending the mail or IMAP also sometimes here. So IMAP configuration they have not given over here, but you can also send or receive mail through IMAP connections, IMAP protocols. So then there are how many ways to scrap a data from the application?
Hello.
Yeah, they're in there. So there are how many ways to scrap an data from the application?
One is screen scraping,
Okay,
get text.
okay. So what is the difference between screen scrapping and data scrapping?
Mm, I think for either of the one, the data should be in the structured format. It should be in tabular format. In the this thing, data scraping.
Uh, Data scrapping is used for web-based scrapping, and screen scrapping is used for your application scrapping.
Okay. No, for either of the one, for data scraping, I think we should have this thing, right? Data should be in structured manner, tabular format.
Yes. So for example, your dynamic website are there, right? If you want to scrap a
Yes.
dynamic website table kind of information or automated structured information, so you can use data scrapping over there. But you have a specific kind of data scrapping which is most entirely on your screen. So you can have like this is called as distinct elements. Then you can use screen scrapping. So what is the difference between native OCR and full text OCR?
Okay, native full text OCR will fetch the hidden text as well. Native OCR will fetch the text which is visible on the screen.
What are the application when it is used? Means which
When we can
application
use
is used?
image.
Mm, so when you have this kind of application, you're I'm just opening the application. So when you have this kind of application, your terminal application. So this is a place where your native OCR will come into the picture because native OCR is designed for such application like your terminal window, your Linux shell window, all those windows. And ideally for all kind of string extraction, we use default full text OCR. So if full text OCR is not able to understand the text, then you go with native OCR for the specific application. So how do we do workload management in the queue?
This I think by creating multi bots.
Okay, let's suppose there are, I'll just give you a real time situation. So let's suppose there are 7,000 records. Okay, each record is taking 30 seconds. Now, if I execute one bot, that means one record per second. So this will take a very huge amount of time. How do you make sure
Yes.
that you process your 7,000 record in such a way that you take less time, where you have three resources available or three robots available?
So first of all the records will be divided into three and fed to the three bots. After that, we'll do the scheduling.
Scheduling.
Yeah,
Why do we need scheduling over here?
so that they'll pick the records again and again. I mean, records should be in the queue for processing.
So first load all the data into the queue.
Yeah, yeah,
The scheduling is required only one if you want to trigger the process at specific time. So if I want to execute all the process parallelly, so we can execute directly, right? Three different resources are there. We can create three jobs running parallelly at the same time in multiple resource. So that means in 30 seconds we are processing three records now.
yes.
Do you think there are any other ways also feasible over here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So let's suppose if we have only two robots, and the challenge is that we have to execute the process as fast as possible. So any suggestion would you like to give, or any kind of solution would you have? Devendra, can you hear me?
Yes, Mayur.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that let's suppose if we have only two robots and we want to achieve the execution as fast as possible. So with three bots, we have seen that we can do this, but how can we achieve within two bots? Is it possible?
The output will be less.
Means like a customer wants that the record to be processed as fast as possible, and customer has only two different bots, robots.
I think only sequentially we can process. There is no other way.
That is one way. Try to think if the process is unattended. If the process is unattended, which means the process is completely in the background, then you can create multiple execution of the process in the same robot itself.
How? It will process one record at a time only, right?
Yeah, means it is unattended, so you can trigger multiple instances at the same time. This is called as robot high density.
But how it will process in a fast mode? Like it can maximum process one record at a time, right?
Yeah, it will process one record at a time only, but at a time we are going to execute multiple jobs. Sorry, it's multiple jobs. So one job, one record. So if I execute 10 different job or 5 different job based on your server compatibility, I can process more records in a 30 seconds. At the
I didn't
same,
get this. How we can?
okay. So if your process is unattended, that means process completely run without UI in the background. It's completely the background process. Okay, it doesn't require any interface change. Then what you can do is that you can configure robot high density. That means in a same system you can create 2 3 login credentials, and each login credentials you execute one job. So what will happen if I have 3 credentials? I'm executing 3 job at a time. So 3 record per 30 second. If 2 robots are there, that means 6 record. 6 record per 30 second. So I'll show you the document. Maybe like this I asked him over the interview because the person said that he has more than 2 years of experience. So there is something called robot high density. High density. You can see over here high density robots.
Yes.
So this is a very unique key feature of UiPath which they have given. So I'll share you this link in the chat. So what you can do is that you can configure your machine. So This document says that if you have multiple users on it, you can register a robot to each of the user account. So whether the process is attended, unattended, or non-production, you can configure it in the high density environment. So I have tested this for attended process for one of the customer. So I have created 2-3 accounts in that system, and then 2-3 login credentials. I am executing one job. So each process in execution is called as job. So three process over there with the high density configuration. So if you have a very good server configure server end, you good amount of RAM and your processing speed is good, you can configure that. Now here they have told that it should be Windows Server machine, but ideally it will also work in Windows 10 if you configure properly. So on the same machine, you have to connect all your users as a robot to orchestrator with all the same machine and the key name. This is what the concept. This is very unique in UiPath, and it's not there in Blueprison as well. Blueprison automation anywhere. So with high density robots, we can execute multiple jobs parallelly in multiple accounts in the same system based on system complexities, and we can reduce the time much more faster. So if in your organization you're getting the orchestrator, right, if they're using in-house orchestrator, then definitely there you try this option.
Okay.
This will only work on your in-house orchestrator. So the normal accelerator which you are getting, right,
Yeah. Okay.
there we have limitations. We need license for that. So this required a license for this. So if you have that, you can test this high density robots.
Okay. So, Mayur, how many classes are left?
I'll try to implement Citrix automation tomorrow and I'll show to you.
Okay. And also ping me your account number. I need to transfer the amount.
Yes, yes, sir. I'll send you by tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay, Devender. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.